for girls, I think it's really important because they start understanding that they're not victims.
Hi, Professor.
Hello.
What is your name and where are we right now?
Okay, it's funny, right? Because my name is Diogo, but most
I
people
know
just call me by Pato. Pato was a nickname that I got from my parents when I was 2 years old, and then it became it means duck in Portuguese. So it became something that everyone called me. Nowadays, it's just Pato, right?
Okay.
And we're here in Victoria. We recently opened Gracie Barra Victoria. It's been 5 months since the school was open, and we're excited to start growing the GB community here in the island, and we're having fun.
It's amazing here. I love your gym.
Thank you.
And apart from opening this gym, what is your
Okay.
biggest accomplishment in Jiu-Jitsu?
I think it's creating an environment that I can have students learn Jiu-Jitsu, but also the parallel that you can make with life. Sometimes we tend to struggle with battles in our lives that we want to do strength. We want to kind of move with power. And we understand that if we allow to create space in our lives, we can deal with that. And Jiu-Jitsu does that. So I think that's one of the things that being able to have this parallel with people will help me a lot.
So you have a lot of white belts at your gym.
Yes.
What would be your best advice to someone who's starting to train Jiu-Jitsu?
I think the main concept that every white belt needs to understand is we need to create body awareness to do Jiu-Jitsu. And our first movement is to power ourselves through everything. You know, we do a lot of grips, we do a lot of strength, and understanding that we are not gonna get it right away. I always joke that the good thing that we learned how to walk when we were babies, because if we were adults, we would probably give up walking. We will say that's not for me because I fall all the time, I do it. In Jiu-Jitsu is the same thing.
Gracie Barra Victoria,
Right.
What makes your gym different from other gyms in the area?
One of the things that I feel like Gracie Barra as a whole has different is the fact that we can teach Jiu-Jitsu for anyone, and even though other gyms can have different people, but the mindset that Gracie Barra has of being a family-oriented school. And I feel that now, for example, most of our students, they're not competitors yet, but they feel that they have a good time here. They can train, they don't get hurt, they can go to work the very next day. And it's one thing building a team from scratch, because we have to pace ourselves of teaching things, because we have to get everyone up to speed on a lot of things. So I feel that if you are an experienced competitor or fighter, you can come and have a good training. But if you don't know anything about Jiu-Jitsu, you can come here, feel a very welcoming environment and a very clean environment, I would say, because we keep it, we try to keep this as clean as possible.
It smells like a hotel, actually.
And I feel like that's what makes the school grow, and that people feel very welcome in space.
And how long have you been a black belt?
It's going to be almost close to 13 years as a black belt.
And you started training in Brazil?
I started training in Brazil in the mid-90s. I think it was a little bit after 96, 97. That's when I started.
Oh, okay. And so this gym you're co-owning with your brother,
Yes.
Professor Gudo. What's it like training with your sibling?
It's funny because he helped me build my game. We started together, but then when I got to be a purple belt, I went away from Jiu-Jitsu for about 8 years, and he kept going. And then he was always the one trying to bring me back to Jiu-Jitsu. And when I got back, he was already a black belt, and then he helped me build my game. So it's funny because we're always trying to figure out the best way to help each other. And it's tough to roll with someone that's strong, knows your game, helped you build it, and pretty much is aware of everything you do. So it's a battle, but it's pretty cool. I love it.
That's so cool. Gi or no gi? What's your favorite?
I love gi.
Why?
Because I love training no gi as well, right? But I think gi, it gives me now more of a chill type of fighting. I always feel that me and Guto, we joke about, we say that no gi is in young man's type of fighting. Okay, old people do not fight no gi much. I always feel that I get the pace of the game, it gets a lot faster. And nowadays, I like that mental control, the things that I can use with the gi and grab. I love seeing no gi. I train no gi, but I enjoy the fight more in gi.
And your favorite submission? Do you have one?
Triangle. I put it this way, even though I didn't get to finish that one, right? And if I'm on top, I love the paper cutter. Paper cutter for me is one of the ones that I use the most.
Simple.
Yeah.
So you've been training for so long. What would you say is the most valuable lesson that you've learned through Jiu-Jitsu?
I think Jiu-Jitsu, it's about being comfortable in tough situations.
Hmm.
Uh, by understanding how you can get uncomfortable and still see that you have a way forward, that's when your game starts developing. Because we criticize ourselves so much. We're always thinking that we're not ready or that we're game when it's not evolving. Even though lots of people around us can see that we're growing, but we're still being so self-conscious about everything. So I think that if you just let go and have fun and train, and even if you're at that time you feel like you suck, just let it be. Just keep training, keep having fun, and eventually things are gonna click.
Yeah, I feel that too. And you have two kids, and
Yes,
one of them, your daughter, trains
right.
as well. As a girl dad, why do you think it's so important that your daughter, why'd you put her in jujitsu?
I think jujitsu it creates confidence in us, of course, because we're getting to know a martial art. We know how to defend
Hmm.
ourselves on the ground. But I also think that jujitsu it develops us in different ways because we're moving on the ground, which is something that we're not used to. Okay,
Hmm.
we're used to running, kicking, and doing
Yeah.
all those types of things. But when we're moving on the ground, we're actually stimulating different parts of the brain.
Yeah.
And for kids, this is really important because they start to create different values in their mind. And for girls, I think it's really important because they start understanding that they're not they're not victims. They
Yeah.
can be, you know, their own boss, and they can actually do stuff, and they know that they're not gonna be just putting their head down because someone is trying to force their will or their
Hmm.
power on them.
Mm.
They have their own power and they know how to use it. So I think it's pretty cool.
That was an amazing answer. I've heard everyone talk about you, and you are one of the best black belts ever, like in our
Wow.
area. I genuinely think so. And have you competed before ever?
Uh, I started my competition in 1998. I did it
Right.
as a white belt, and then I did it as a blue belt. I went away for 8 years, and I
Yeah.
came back as a purple, and then I competed a lot on that belt. I did a couple of tournaments in purple and a couple in black. And but I felt that nowadays I was able to. I was fortunate enough to compete here in Vancouver twice
I
in front
remember.
of certain students and all
Hmm.
that. But I feel that now my focus it's a lot more in creating the team. Even though I train like I'm gonna compete.
Yeah.
What I mean is, it's not with intensity, but always thinking, oh, in that situation, if it was a tournament, my opponent would do
Cool.
this and this to me. Even though
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about competing that much anymore, I'm always thinking that mental aspect of what happens if there's a mat full of people watching and my opponent wants to do this. What would I have done?
Yeah.
So that's I think I still competing in my mind, even though I'm not
Hmm.
competing there.
What's the biggest competition you've done?
I done the South American Championship, and I was able to win that at black belt, and it was really cool. But and then here in Vancouver, I think it was when I had the super fights when I fought Professor Aubrey from
Yeah.
GBHQ. It was an amazing event because I never had a chance to fight as a a special event for a lot of people, and
Hmm.
having my kids watching and having
Yeah.
my wife watching, all the students. And funny thing, it was a fight that I ended up losing,
Your
but it was
triangle though
yes,
was, I
right.
remember it was legendary.
I kept thinking in my mind, my that triangle, what should I have done, and what I could have done
Yeah.
differently. But I think the main thing that gets me on that scenario was
Hmm.
afterwards when I got to the locker room, and my wife and my kids were there watching me, and they came, and my kids came and hugged me, and they were all crying,
Mm.
and I was able to hug them, and I think the best lesson I was able to teach my kids wasn't about winning, but
Mm.
was about losing and still moving forward,
Yes.
losing and still saying, hey, it's okay. The next Monday I put my gi on, tied my belt, and I went to do what I loved. So uh, winning the fight, it would have been great.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to lose a fight, but being able to, at the end of the day, putting a good show for everyone who was watching, and seeing that people still talk about that fight, that's something that it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having us
Well, for
and for
sure.
letting us interview you. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.